Hi, this is Bill Buchanan. I wanted to take just a few moments to review the tree views and navigation tools in the Family Search Family Tree. To get to the Family Search Family Tree, you go to www.familysearch.org and sign in, and then you click on Family Tree and then Tree. And it will show you the family tree or pedigree of the person that you most recently viewed, not necessarily yourself. And it will show that tree in the tree view that was most recently used. So it remembers from one session to the next a bit. Okay, so here we are in a family tree, and these are the navigation tools. This first one in this view allows us to select one of 5 different views of the family tree. This is the options button, which does different things in different views, but this allows you to view temple ordinances, record hints, portraits, marriages in invert colors. Okay, this one is very important because if you want to see your own pedigree, you need to click this little home button, which then returns to the home view, which would be the view of you as the main person with your spouse, ancestors, and any children you have. This one recenters the picture, as it were, in case things are off center. This will toggle on and off the full screen view, which would hide the taskbar and other things that take up some space, but is not part of the web page. And of course, to shrink or expand the picture of the family pedigree, you can use those 2 buttons. Okay. So this is what we call the landscape view. It's the one that I probably use most frequently. And we need to explain these little things, perhaps, to people that we're helping, which is that clicking these little arrows will show or hide additional information depending upon the setting there. Okay, so if we click this again, it will hide that information. And in fact, if we had, oops, this doesn't have anybody, so but there's only so much screen room so that you can only expand maybe one of these things at a time, or maybe 2 if they don't want to use the same area of the screen. Okay, moving along here. Okay, other views. Okay, the portrait view is basically the same portrait view that you get on the mobile app, on a phone or a tablet. And some people like that particular view, and for them, that is a good thing. We'll look at fan chart later, since it is perhaps the other main view. The descendancy view is useful if you want to go through the descendants of somebody one by one and want to make sure that you don't miss anybody. So here we can see the children of Edward Bullock and Margaret Curfey. And no, there is nothing to turn here for Sarah, so she has no spouse or children. Elizabeth, though, we see that when we click to expand her information, it brings up her husband and her family. If any of her children were married, then there'd be an arrow to click to show their families. So if you're going through the family tree very thoroughly and you don't want to miss any record hints or ordinances or other things that are available, The descendancy view is a systematic, if somewhat puttery, way to take care of that. And I have used it from time to time. Let's take a look now at the other views. Well, here, when it comes to descendancy, again, we've got those same basic things, but here we can expand the number of descendants to a number of different generations. Okay, and perhaps the least useful tree view for most of us, which, as I understand it, is basically intended for some traditional genealogies that is just a list of fathers, one generation after another, useful perhaps for traditional Chinese or Korean genealogies or European genealogies that trace, say, the chiefs of a particular Scottish clan or a particular line of nobility, where you're looking mostly at just a line of fathers. When you bring mothers into it, then this basically changes into pretty much the same thing as the portrait view. If it's fathers only, then you get one of those descendancy lists like you do when you're showing how you're related to somebody else. Okay, moving on to saving the best for last here. When we look at the options menu here, we can show 4, 5, 6, or 7 generations. And we can change the coloring so that it shows family lines or birthplace. You notice that each country has its own color code. If it's white, it either means that there is no birthplace listed on the record, or it's not standardized. Okay, this shows us the number of sources for each record. So we see that there's more than 10 here for Edward Bullock, and then 5 to 9 for some of his children, and 1 to 4 for others, and 0 for others. Okay, so it's a handy way to see what you've got for various ancestors. And when it's focused on you, generally you'll find that there may be no sources for you or your parents, and then a whole bunch for your grandparents, and maybe tapering off from there. Photos, similar thing. You get back before about 1850, and there are no photos. There may be paintings or other representations of people, but photography came into use in the mid to late 1800s. Research helps. And here's a record hint. This person. Ordinances available. Oh, yes. There are ordinances available for this family. And we can invert the colors of the background if we prefer. And that is basically it. To change back to the layout view, again, we click whatever view we're currently on, and it will replace that view with the view that we've asked for. Okay, again, I would like to say what I've probably said before, which is the most useful part of Family Tree for me is usually the person page, where I can add births, marriages, deaths, other information where I can add sources and collaboration notes, things like this. But it's essential also to be familiar with the tree views so that you can navigate through them. And, if you're ever on a tree view and you get lost, remember you can always get home to yourself by clicking the little house icon. Okay, thank you for your time and attention. I wish you success.